I can't imagine anybody who's done a better job peering into the future by actually creating the future. I'm curious, how far out do you think you're able to see? How many years out beyond today, given the speed of change?
Well, when things are changing rapidly, the ability to predict the future, I think, is uh, becomes a lot harder because of the rate of change is so great. Um, but I think some things are fairly obvious to predict, which is that we'll have um, AI or AGI that's at a level that it can really do almost any cognitive. I think really not almost really any cognitive task. It's just a question of when. One could debate: is it smarter than any human at the end of next year, or is it 2 years or 3 years? But it's not more than 5 years, that's for sure. Um, yeah, and I give predictions. I'm sort of saying giving predictions at the 50th percentile of probability. So not like it will definitely happen, but if you say if you ask me like what's the 50th percentile, where it's like your kind of over under is kind of even. That's where I think it's probably end of next year before AI can do better than any individual human could do. Um, and then, but it's a much higher bar to say, well, is it smarter than human intelligence collectively? But if the rate of change continues, that's why I think probably 2029 or maybe 2030 is where digital intelligence will probably exceed all human intelligence combined. I think it's always helpful to look at these like fundamental ratios, um, sort of physics first principles approach to looking at things, and
And
and one of the most
probabilistic, yeah, and probabilistic, yeah.
yeah so yeah, it's probabilistic. So um, the yeah so um, if you look at the ratio of digital to biological compute, so like all of say all of the higher level cognitive, if you sum up the higher level cognitive capacity of humans, and then what is the and think of that as compute, then and then compare that to what is the digital compute, um, and the rate at which this is growing is just boggles the mind. So that's why I think I think 2029 or 2030 or thereabouts is it's not a that's I think a reasonable time frame for where you'd expect the the cumulative digital compute to probably exceed the cumulative biological compute of higher level brain functions. Um,
And then from then forever, yeah, and still in dispatching and diverging forever from there.
yeah, and then yeah, where do things go from there? I don't know. Probably continues. Um, the we are moving from say if you look at the limiting factors of the what is the constraint on growth. Like last year it was clearly AI chips were the constraint on growth. Um, then this year the one of the biggest constraints, maybe the biggest constraints on growth, are voltage step down transformers, because the just getting the power from like a utility at 300 kilovolts all the way down to below 1 volt for the computer is a massive amount of voltage step down. So it's my sort of very very niche and perhaps not that funny joke is that we need transformers for transformers. So we need voltage transformers for AI, neural net transformers. That is literally the issue this year. And then if we're saying like next year and years beyond that, it's going to be constraints on electrical power. And you've got both AI with very big demands for electrical power and the transition to sustainable energy with electric vehicles and whatnot also needing electrical power. So it's just a lot of electrical power needs.